Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every screen on Earth had vanished. No phone, no television, no internet, no music streaming, no group chats, no YouTube, nothing. Most people would probably ask the same question: what am I supposed to do all day? But for nearly all of human history, that wasn't a hypothetical question, it was reality. And strangely enough, ancient humans didn't spend their days staring into space, bored out of their minds. In fact, many researchers believe they were often far more socially connected than we are today. So, what exactly did ancient humans do all day? The answer is much more surprising than you might think. Because for most of human existence, surviving wasn't a full time job. When people imagine prehistoric life, they often picture endless struggle. A caveman wakes up, runs after animals, almost gets eaten, falls asleep exhausted, then repeats the same thing the next day. But evidence from modern hunter gatherer societies suggests reality was often different. Anthropologists studying groups such as the Hadza of Tanzania and the San people of southern Africa found that many hunter gatherers spend far fewer hours gathering food than most modern office workers spend at their jobs. That doesn't mean life was easy. Food shortages happened, danger existed, but daily life wasn't necessarily a non-stop survival marathon. In many cases, people had something modern humans constantly complain about lacking: free time. And that's where things become interesting. Imagine sitting around a fire with the same 30 or 40 people you've known your entire life. No strangers online, no celebrities, no viral videos, just people, every day, for years. You might think that would become boring. Ancient humans seem to think the opposite. Anthropologists often describe conversation and storytelling as some of humanity's oldest forms of entertainment. Long before books existed, stories were how information traveled. Stories taught children, stories preserved history, stories explained nature, stories warned people about danger, and stories were fun. A skilled storyteller in a prehistoric camp may have been the closest thing to a movie director, comedian, teacher, and influencer all at once. Some researchers even believe language itself evolved partly because humans loved sharing stories so much. In a world without screens, people became the entertainment. But conversation wasn't the only thing filling their days. Ancient humans were constantly observing the world around them. And when I say observing, I mean really observing. Most of us walk past trees without noticing them. Ancient humans could identify plants, animal tracks, weather patterns, migration routes, water sources, and seasonal changes with incredible accuracy. Their survival depended on it. Imagine knowing every hill, stream, cave, and tree within dozens of kilometers. Imagine recognizing an animal footprint the way you recognize a friend's face. That's the level of environmental awareness many hunter-gatherers possessed. Their world wasn't empty, it was packed with information. Then there was play. Many people assume play is something children do, but adults in traditional societies often play too. Anthropologists have documented games, competitions, dancing, wrestling, music, and social gatherings in cultures across the world. Humans appear to be naturally playful creatures, and ancient humans were no exception. Some of the oldest musical instruments ever discovered are flutes made from bird bones that are more than 35,000 years old. Think about that. People were making music before agriculture existed, before cities, before writing, before history itself, which suggests something remarkable. The desire to create art and music may be just as deeply human as the desire to eat. And then there was curiosity. Lots of it. Imagine looking at the stars without light pollution. No city lights, no glowing billboards, no illuminated windows, just darkness. And above you, thousands upon thousands of stars. The night sky would have looked almost supernatural. Many researchers believe astronomy may have begun simply because humans couldn't stop looking up. The stars helped people navigate, track seasons, predict migrations, but they also inspired questions. Who are we? Where did we come from? What happens when we die? Those questions didn't begin with philosophers. They began with ordinary humans sitting around fires tens of thousands of years ago. Now, here's the part that might surprise you most. Ancient humans probably spent a lot of time doing absolutely nothing, at least by modern standards. No notifications, no emails, no constant stream of content demanding attention. There were moments when people simply sat, watched a fire, looked at clouds, talked, thought, rested. Modern brains are so accustomed to stimulation that this sounds impossible, but for ancient humans, it was normal. And some psychologists argue that periods of boredom may have played an important role in creativity. When your mind isn't occupied, it starts wandering, and wandering minds often produce new ideas, the next invention, the next story, the next solution, the next discovery. Of course, life wasn't perfect. Ancient humans faced hardships most of us never experience. Injury could be deadly, weather could be brutal, food wasn't guaranteed. Many children didn't survive to adulthood. It's important not to romanticize the past, but it's also important not to misunderstand it. Ancient humans were not primitive robots focused only on survival. They were people, people who laughed, people who loved, people who argued, people who told stories, people who sang songs, people who made art, people who stared at the stars and wondered what was out there, just like us. So, what did ancient humans do all day before phones existed? They explored, they observed, they played, they created, they socialized, they learned, they told stories, and sometimes they simply sat beside a fire and watched the world go by. Maybe the real question isn't how they lived without phones. Maybe the more interesting question is this: after hundreds of thousands of years living one way, how much have phones changed what it means to be human? And if one of our ancestors suddenly appeared beside us today, would they be more surprised by our technology or by how rarely we look away from it? Subscribe for more videos like these, and I'll talk to you all next time.